MMORPGs are defined as an online role-playing video game in which a very large number of people participate simultaneously. In my opinion, this is a dying genre. Let me explain. I don't know how old you are or what generation you grew up with, mainly because I don't know you, but I was born in the early 2000s, and unfortunately for me, that's when MMORPGs were at the height of their popularity. With, games like Tibia, RuneScape, World of Warcraft. Like I said, these games came out before I was born or not too soon after, so I never really got to experience these communities in their prime. Because, there's not very many babies playing MMORPGs, or at least not that I know of, and who knows, man. I've gone back and I've played these games, and I honestly love them. I can see why they were so popular back in the day. You can tell the developers cared more about the game than the money that they were going to get from it. Something that's not so present in today's MMORPGs, but we're going to talk about that more soon. What's most impressive to me about what I'm going to call the Golden Age is the community. They did stuff like conventions, role-playing, LARPing, LAN parties back when that was a thing. Yes, we may see some of those things as unconventional, odd, or sometimes kind of cringe. But it was still a community, and a pretty strong one, actually. Going back and playing these games now, something just feels kind of off. It's like playing a source game or a multiplayer map by yourself. It feels like there's supposed to be more people. And there probably was back in the day, you know what I mean? These streets of Azeroth probably were more lively and had more players, but these days they just feel kind of empty. But that's completely normal. Games get older, get outdated, the communities move on to different things, play other games. WoW was so big to the point where it got mainstream media coverage, which was almost unheard of back then.
World of fantasy and fun. But for 16-year-old Cameron Sandler, this is more than a game. It's an addiction and an illness.
Probably not the best example, but you see what I mean. Unfortunately, I was too young to experience these games when they were in their prime. I would have liked to, they seemed fun. I feel like I would have really enjoyed it, but sadly, there's not even really a good replacement these days. Which leads me into my next point. There's not many good MMORPGs to choose from these days. Probably two, if I'm being honest. Those being Guild Wars 2 and Final Fantasy 14. Maybe Elder Scrolls Online, but that's kind of iffy. But don't get me wrong, there's been plenty who have tried to make the next best MMORPG, but they all flopped and kind of fall into irrelevancy a month after they're created. Hell, even Bezos himself, Amazon tried to make an MMORPG, which was huge for a month. Now no one talks about it. The problem with these games is just there's not enough content in them. That's why they failed. I think these new game studios don't realize how hardcore their targeted demographic can be. 30 hours of content is impressive for Spider-Man or God of War, but not for an MMO. A lot of the MMO community are happy to put hundreds, if not thousands of hours into these games, and it seems like most of these modern game studios just kind of can't keep up with that. They just can't provide enough content. I also come to find that these modern MMO game studios tend to more focus on cosmetics and microtransactions rather than actual gameplay and content. But a good example of a good MMO that provides good content and a lot of cosmetic options is Final Fantasy 14. You're able to basically focus on combat or focus on fashion if you want to. It's kind of like there's two games mixed into one. You could do either or without having to do each other. It's crazy. I'm not exaggerating when I say you can play the game and focus on fashion and do basically little to no combat, but you might have to pay some more on top of the $15 subscription fee. But the problem is I could never get into Final Fantasy 14. I've tried to play it for a while. I mean, I've played it for 2 months, but I could never get into it. And that's because the combat is too damn slow. I'm not even kidding. It has tab targeting combat and global cooldown on all your moves. There's just a problem with lack of options. Well, at least for me. Final Fantasy is basically the only one that has that good balance, which sucks for me because the other ones just, mostly focus on microtransactions, which leads me into this next point. A lot of game developers, just in general, rely on microtransactions too much and push them too much into their games. But for MMOs, it's more of a pay-to-win type situation, not as much cosmetics. as it probably should be. What they do is they make their game consistently grindy, just super grindy, basically making you annoyed so you feel the need to get these power-ups and speed boosts. And they basically manipulate you into buying their microtransactions. And this is sadly what a lot of MMORPGs are turning into, and I don't like it. Also, subscription-based MMOs aren't as bad, but I really don't agree with them. I really don't like having to pay monthly to play a game. I'd rather buy the game and have the choice to buy DLC in the future if the DLC is worth it. That's how I think it should be. I don't think you should have to pay $15 a month for a game you technically don't even own. You're just renting it, I guess. A monthly subscription. You don't own it. But that's why I think the MMORPG genre is unfortunately dying. I don't like it, but it's happening. I just hope that one company comes through and releases something that's like groundbreaking and like it just revives the genre. But hopefully it happens before it's too late, to be honest. But yeah, the genre is in a rapid decline, and I'm not liking it. Anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed the video. You guys seem to like the more commentary style videos, so I've been doing some of that. If you did enjoy it, I'd really appreciate it if you did subscribe, because we're almost at 5,000 subscribers, and that would be really cool to get to. But yeah, only if you enjoy it, though. If you want to watch more of this type of stuff, please let me know in the comments, because this type of stuff is fun to make. So yeah, just let me know. See you next video, and bye.